Well, a very good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. It's my pleasure to have you on board on Kenya's most comprehensive political and public governance analysis show. Definitely, I'm talking about the Candy Talk. And of course, we always bring you up to date with comprehensive analysis of all that is taking place in this country. And we are always glad to tell you the kind of impact that the government decisions and policies in this country have on your life. My name is Evan Sokinyi, and I'm back after such a short time. I'm here with Professor Herman Manyora, political analyst and commentator. Prof, how are you?
Wonderfully wonderful.
Yes. Welcome to the show after such a short break. But we are here and we are still looking at how things are happening within our country here. And of course, it's like initially we were just talking about the rumors about the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, but it seems like the MPs are determined to make their threats real. Now, I want us to get into the political dynamics of this. I don't want us to get into all that impeachment story, but then here we are. I saw the other day, Ida Odinga, of course, the spouse to the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and those Governor Anne Waiguru, the Kirinyaga governor, alongside other women leaders in that forum that they had for the position of the Deputy President. Remember, this happens while DP Rigathi is still in office. A section of members of parliament also affiliated to Professor Kithure Kindiki have also endorsed him for the same position. Now, let's look at this. What do you read from all this? We are talking about potential replacements already, even before the real action takes place.
I'm not yet sure that Gachagua is going to be impeached. First, at the level of whether that motion will be tabled, and even if tabled, whether it can go the full hog. And secondly, I'm not also very sure about the numbers. Impeachments are always very tricky. Although it looks like this time now, the wave against Gachagua at the level of parliament.
Okay. I want us to get, of course, I didn't want to get into that conversation of the numbers. But initially, when I had this conversation with you, you told me that these people do not have the right numbers.
And I'm saying
the
politics is dynamic. There's nothing more dynamic than politics.
Okay.
And if you look around now, it does appear that those against Gachagua have been gaining in numbers, and that they could easily marshal the support required to impeach him in National Assembly.
Okay. Now let's get to the direction, of course, of the potential replacements, if at all. That is assuming, of course, all these things are hypothetical at this particular level. Assuming these people sail through and they successfully impeach DP Rigathi Gachagua, we have people here proposing the name of Kirinyaga governor, and at the same time Professor Kithure Kindiki. All these names have been tabled here, all of them from the central Kenya region.
Yes.
What do you make of these propositions at this point?
Let's begin by saying there are people who think if you impeach Gachagua, then that goes to Mudavadi.
Okay.
That talk is there, yes. And there are consequences to that, of course, to the president. In the recent past, the name of Gladys Wanga, Homa Bay governor, has been added in the list of replacement for Gachagua. I think that is as far as it goes from outside Mount Kenya. But I think the general consensus seems to be that it will be from within Mount Kenya.
Okay, so we put off any sort of rumors that it may actually slip from the Mount Kenya region.
Yes, I think it is fair to accept that it will be from Mount Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
So looking at all these things, of course, somebody says that it's here the president calls the shots. But right now, if the president wants his deputy impeached, then definitely that will happen. But if he doesn't, then also something will happen. So
yes.
Is it a matter of him calculating how that impeachment can actually go through,
of course,
without affecting the central Kenya?
He's a politician. He has to calculate whether it will add him bonga points, as you people say, or subtract.
But you told me getting rid of Gachagua from the mountain here would be a political suicide for the president.
It is. Unless, again, this is politics. This is still my view up to this moment.
Okay.
But it is also possible the president can navigate. He also can navigate something around the absence of Gachagua. I think then it will boil down to who takes off from Gachagua. It's a fairly tricky thing, fairly tricky, but it's still a possibility.
Back then you said losing Gachagua would mean losing the mountain.
Yes.
So if that is the case, then why would he still go for somebody?
And it's for that reason that we are agreeing here now, you and I, that he will have to stick to Mount Kenya. That's number one. So the talk of Gladys Wanga and Mudavadi out. So that leaves you with Mount Kenya. That's the first box he must tick. Then within Mount Kenya, he has to look at the sort of characters there are and pick one who will minimize the damage caused by dethroning Gachagua.
Do you think Ruto is at a position to handle Rigathi Gachagua as an enemy from the mountain?
It's a little difficult. So it again goes down to who will he pick. It must be somebody who can help him. Yes, mitigate the damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the debate of who will do that.
Yes.
We have two names here so far. Professor Kithure Kindiki, of course, you remember the kind of disagreement that actually began way back when these people were supposed to be picking the running mate for President William Ruto. But then his name is there. At the same time, we have the name of Governor, that is Waiguru of Kirinyaga County. These names, what then do you think would actually push the president to reach a certain decision on who to pick between them? And remember, all of them are also in that particular list of the potential running mates during that particular moment in time.
One thing, you will not limit the president to two names. Secondly, in many of these instances, it is not always the most obvious that gets picked. What we agree is that it will be Mount Kenya.
Okay.
Unless the destruction, he wants the destruction to be total. Within Mount Kenya, there must be names he will consider. And I think if you ask me, it will be the sort of names we had in the run-up to the last election when he was looking for his running mate.
Okay. And of course,
a few people made it to the final. You could add in one or two others who, for one or two reasons, or for some reason, did not make it to the ones we had. So if we stick to the first list of those who made it to the final list, we had Waiguru. Waiguru, was he on the list?
Yeah, Waiguru was on the list.
Waiguru, Alice Wahome.
Yes.
Those are ladies. Then we had Kindiki, Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro. Is that not all?
And Justin Muturi.
There was nobody else, I think. But there are other names that were there that for some reason did not make that list. You need to look for those names from Meru side. There was a name, I think. Was there somebody from Meru? Meru? Eastern, there was Justin Muturi. There was somebody else. Then there was Mwangi Kiunjuri. Mwangi Kiunjuri from Laikipia. And then there was some. Oh no, I'm confusing. Liki Nyanjui was on the Raila side.
Yeah, Liki Nyanjui was on this other side.
And then Peter Munya was on the Raila side. So I think it's.
But then even Kiraitu Murungi was on the Raila side.
Raila side.
So it wasn't on the other side. Yeah.
Mwangi Kiunjuri was on the side of Ruto. So I think you have to stick to those names. There's a name also I'm forgetting. There's another name from outside central Kenya, but Mount Kenya. I remember that as we discussed.
Definitely. Was Mythical Inturi in the...
Mythical Inturi, was he on the list? Was he mentioned? Yeah, he was mentioned, but not quite prominently. There's a name I'm forgetting.
Okay.
So if you stick to those names, then you ask yourself, who is Ruto looking for? What sort of person is he looking for? What sort of challenges is Ruto going to face after removing Gachagua? You have already said one. which is it must be a person with the capacity to minimize the damage caused by removing Gachagua. And you must look at this. Why do I disagree with those who say any Kikuyu would have deputized Ruto? Why do I disagree?
So why?
It is because that is naive. Much as the Kikuyus wanted, the Mount Kenya people were going to vote for Ruto. They also wanted a sort of person that gives them assurance that their presence in the government will be felt. Remember, they were even going without an MOU like others. No conditions. But they wanted somebody to assure. So, Rigathi Gachagua by character was that insurance the community required, that it would not be taken for granted. And that's why he's resonating with the crowd in Mount Kenya. Because they put him there. When he was there, when Ruto put him there, they were sure this is the sort of person who will ensure our stake is safe. So when you use that logic, you must then ask yourself, of all these names, who fits that bill? Let's start with the one people think is most favorite. Kithure Kindiki. Quite qualified, educated, good guy, has no enemies and so on and so forth. And apart from the blunders he has made as interior CS, and made many enemies, and I can't blame him, because anybody who has been in that office, from Ezekiel Uyugi was the PS, to Michukis, to Matiangis, to anybody, including Kaiseri, late Kaiseri, General. He goes there and immediately, the ODM side, they say, well, you are one of us. So it's a very difficult office. For that reason, apart from, I would understand what Kindiki has done. So apart from the dirt he has acquired by being CS sector, he has everything that goes for him.
Okay.
Except now one,
Yes, right.
the original problem. Can he be an assurance to the people of Mount Kenya? How would the people of Mount Kenya view Kindiki? There are two challenges. One, he comes from the fringe parts of Mount Kenya. That I've said repeatedly. Not just Eastern, not just Meru, but Daraka. So that's very fringe. That, in politics, that counts for a lot. Anybody arguing with me should answer this. Why are gubernatorial candidates very careful who they choose for running mate? Where they come from? You can't go and get some fringe person and make him your running mate. Where will he bring the votes? The other issue now that is Kindiki's biggest undoing, he plays into that narrative that we wanted a tough man there, and Gachagua was there. Ruto has moved him because he doesn't want a tough man, and a tough man is protecting our interests as Mount Kenya people. So Kindiki is quickly disqualified. He will be seen as a flower girl, a yes boy, a yes boy to Ruto. You see, Mr. Good. So for that reason, the community will not buy into him, and the Ruto will be aware of that. So we dismiss that. Anne Waiguru is a good, viable candidate. She's a fighter. She has done many good things, but she has equally done many bad things. Her record with things like corruption and when she was the minister in charge of devolution, it is too recent for somebody to forget. I know we are a country of thieves and everything else, but sometimes some things stick.
So if that's the case, then why are you surprised that she could actually feature in that list?
That's why she's there. That's why I'm not surprised. That's why she's there. People forget. And then, being a woman is a tick for her. It's time we had women leaders to that high levels. And the president has alluded to that. So that tick for Anne Waiguru. But unfortunately, the fate of Kindiki the same. The feeling that she will be a mere flower girl to Ruto, yes, woman, the community will not bind. And in any case, Gachagua is not going home crying. He will be fighting. Can Anne Waiguru match him? Match him in the struggle for the soul of the mountain? And the answer is no. And you can say that about all these remaining guys, Justin Muturi, they do not. You can say that about, who else was there? Ndindi Nyoro is a very good person. Actually very vibrant. I think that's a future candidate for big things, like I've said many times. But today, that image, your image, of a Ruto person who has been used to fight Gachagua, of a Ruto person who has been used to divide the community. He's been trying to shake it off, eh?
Yeah, he actually.
He's really been trying
and
and
almost
almost successful,
best, yes.
but he's there. If he speaks today as running as the deputy president, the community will feel Ruto is giving them a traitor who has sold the community. At the same time, Ndindi Nyoro will appear to the community because of his past, the way he has been talking and fighting the DP and everything else. He'll appear to be not just an activist, which has been successful trying to shed off, but again, as a person, the president will put on his index finger and just dance like that. Another flower girl.
Okay.
And you can go on until perhaps, strangely enough, Mwangi Kiunjuri stands out. If you look at his past, including his altercations with Uhuru Kenyatta, at the time he was being dropped from being cabinet secretary for agriculture. If you look at his past, including wrestling with the giants, with his government of national unity, GNU party, and now the TSP party, and how he has been able to perform, outperforming people like Mother Karua, who had been there, who was maybe only one MC or so. And he got a governor with GNU, Gachagua's brother in Nyeri. If you look at, he may be the forgotten parameter. If you are looking for somebody to replace Gachagua, he's one of the, in my view, my considered opinion. If you are looking at the names that we already know, you know, it's because it's quite possible for the president to spring a name on us as Kenyans, to spring a name on Mount Kenya, a name outside this system, but a name on whom nobody has anything against. You see? So, oh, okay, we have nothing against this guy.
But even
yeah, that also can work. But if he's going to look for those names we already know, take this to the bank. Mwangi Kiunjuri is the person.
But even after being
take it to the bank,
even after being dismissed by the former president William Ruto from Uhuru Kenyatta from
but you heard what Uhuru said.
Somebody would actually say that what you're saying here is a little bit far-fetched.
Look, after Uhuru dismissed him, because I remember even also saying something about Mwangi Kiunjuri, warning him also. After Uhuru dismissed him, he proceeded to say such a nice things about the developments in the agriculture docket. It was such a big contradiction. The things Uhuru said were happening in the Ministry of Agriculture. And then the action he took of dismissing Kiunjuri. And he didn't say anything why he dismissed him.
What do you think informed his dismissal at that particular moment?
Pardon?
What do you think informed
he was dismissed because Kiunjuri were among the big names from the mountain who were tilting towards Ruto. That's why nothing was said about his dismissal.
Okay.
Because he was one of the big names that were making Uhuru very unhappy. The big names from Mount Kenya. Because the rest were these young people. Remember, at the time, people are moving from Uhuru Kenyatta to William Ruto. The names from Mount Kenya were very junior politicians. Kimani Ichung'wah, Ndindi Nyoro, Alice Wahome, those. But Mwangi Kiunjuri was one of the most serious, I think it was the most serious name. I think there wasn't another serious name of that level that was tilting towards William Ruto, and that's why he sacked him. I remember warning Mwangi Kiunjuri because Mwangi Kiunjuri said there were things he wanted to say, he could say about Uhuru Kenyatta. I said, don't go in that direction. I said, I think it was on TV or one of the videos.
So you're saying is
this? So I remember the events surrounding Kiunjuri's sacking very well.
So his sacking had nothing to do with incompetence
or
I
am telling you the accolades to the Minister of Agriculture and the action of dismissal and the silence about this dismissal. It was merely because Kiunjuri was the biggest name at that time that was working with Ruto, or seemed to be favoring Ruto's side. Yeah, that's why he was removed.
Okay.
No, it wasn't because of any scandal, not at all. Yeah.
So people were actually thinking of now that the two names that are appearing here, the Professor Kithure Kindiki and Governor Anne Waiguru, and then now you're bringing on board another guy by the name
there could be another
Mwangi Kiunjuri.
There could be another one we don't even know. From those we know, the short list is those three. Anne Waiguru, Kithure Kindiki, and the Mwangi Kiunjuri and take this to the bank, Akidure Kindiki name cannot feature there. It will be suicide for the president.
Out of all these people whom you have seen being proposed here from the mountain, because you're saying here that the president has to keep the trust and perhaps try to mend fences with the mountain here by perhaps replacing Gachagua if he's ousted by somebody from the very mountain. So whom do you think would actually fit into the shoe of a deputy president therein? Would actually maybe have the same, more or less the same qualities that the president was looking at when he went for Gachagua?
I've already told you, if the president chose Gachagua because of the character, the abilities Gachagua had of mobilizing the community, of facing off with the enemy, of telling up Uhuru Kenyatta as we saw, how many of these people would have done what Gachagua did? Kupanda gari ya, juu ya gari, and they point fingers at Uhuru Kenyatta and say stuff that Gachagua said. So if he's looking for another tough person, it cannot be Kindiki.
Okay.
It cannot be Mwangi Kiunjuri. It cannot be Justin Muturi. It cannot be Ndindi Nyoro.
Okay.
Ndindi Nyoro can try that, but it cannot be him convincingly. That's why I was settling on Mwangi Kiunjuri. Has the capacity to do that. If you look at his past record.
Does the choice for whoever potentially replaces the deputy president here have any particular influence on the 2027?
Of course. First of all, you see, the mountain, the elephant in the room is touching Gachagua and by sense Morima mountain. That's the mountain in the room. If the mountain collapses in Ruto's hands, what chance does he have in 2027 election? And that's why I'm saying Gachagua may walk away with the mountain. So it's a question of what can you salvage by way of choosing. First of all, you don't want to show total betrayal to the community by taking a deputy president to replace Gachagua from Nyanza or Western. So it will be Mount Kenya. That's the first thing you need to do. The mountain may accuse you of being bad, of doing things to their son, but at least you are still within the mountain. And secondly, because you want to save a bit of whatever is lost, you need a person who shares some characteristics with the Gachagua. The characteristic of being tough, independent-minded, a mobilizer, a grassroots person. And none of those, Kindiki is not a grassroots person, he's not a mobilizer. You know? Who else was there? You are talking about who else?
Waiguru.
Waiguru, they are not.
Okay.
They are not. Waiguru cannot mobilize a mountain against anybody. In other words, you'll be leaving 100% of the mountain to Rigathi Gachagua, either to stand as a candidate or to take the votes to Kalonzo Musyoka or Raila Odinga or whoever it is they'll work with. Yes.
Okay. So if that is the case, then let's wait and see if perhaps this will come to pass.
But we are not praying for it to pass. Gachagua has wronged nobody. Gachagua is a good man, he's a man of God. His mistake is to support his community and to be a truthful man. But there are also many challenges with the impeachment. But today you are saying we are looking at this.
Yes.
If it goes through. From Gachagua's side, they'll be saying, God forbid. But if it goes through, then the challenge to Ruto will not be small.
We actually saw him being prayed for the other time. If at all, Prof, if at all these people are serious with this kind of impeachment story, would you then advise the deputy president to step down rather than wait for what would befall him? Because if at all he is impeached, then there are also consequences that come with that.
There are two things. If I was Gachagua's advisor, there are two things. There are two ways. One, the courts cannot save you if you go directly to challenge the impeachment, before or after. Why? Because the courts will be setting a very dangerous precedent. If Parliament impeaches and tries a president or a deputy and finds them guilty or unable to hold and fit to hold office, courts should not come in. I've been warning courts about governors. A governor is impeached, Senate tries him and finds him unfit. From that moment, the courts cannot come in. But the courts have been coming in. I've been warning courts. Supposing you do this and a president is impeached, tried by Senate and found to be unfit, then he follows the same path you are allowing governors to follow. You can throw the country into anarchy. So don't go there. Once somebody has been impeached, so the courts may not help Gachagua in that manner. But there's a manner of challenging certain aspects, not of the impeachment, but of the idea of a presidency, the idea of sovereignty. Power belongs to the people. The people have donated that power to the presidency through universal suffrage. It is tricky if you can snatch away that power by giving the same power now to parliament. You can challenge that. So you can challenge the constitutionality, not of the impeachment per se, but the idea of Article 1 of the Constitution, of the people donating their power through universal suffrage to create a presidency of president and president. And now you want to snatch that power through the back door and give the same power to another institution like parliament. That you can challenge in court. But if Gachagua realizes that the impeachment is going to go through, because that you can know. When governors are being impeached, so we know who will go, who will not
Definitely.
go. Once he does his calculations and sees he'll be impeached, he should not wait to be impeached. Because once you are impeached, your future is doomed. Okay? So then the advisable thing might be to resign before the impeachment and let these people do their thing and fight. But again, when you resign, you must resign in style so that whatever move you make is impactful. But those are things he deals with his advisors and the team. I'm not part of his team, I'm not part of his advisors, but if I were, I would give my contribution in terms of resigning so that you have a future in politics, or in terms of challenging not the impeachment, but the whole idea of donated power through universal suffrage. How can you give the same power now, which people have donated through universal suffrage, and now you want to give it to parliament? That you can challenge in court. But it's a long drawn thing. As to whether parliament can stop, as whether the judiciary can stop parliament before this thing is resolved or not, is another story. It's a long, difficult route. That's why there are many people who believe.
So if at all the marriage is irreparable, as it has been said here, then the best thing for him would be to resign.
Once he knows he'll be impeached. Right, that's the best thing always to do. Resign, go out when you are clean. I've been told to resign where I'm a director, and I know what it means.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it here. Remember, we are still following the proceedings of this debate about whether the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, should actually be impeached. Let's wait and see what kind of political moves actually go on at this particular moment in time. I believe that is a very good moment to be alive in Kenya, and the Nairobi review team is actually here, and we'll keep you updated till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.